Hey, so in this video, I just want to quickly run through how to hide rows and columns in Google Sheets. So this is really useful if you don't want to delete a row or a column, but you just don't have any need for looking at it, and maybe you can clean up your sheet a little bit and make it more manageable to work with. So for example, looking at this sheet right now, this is full of a bunch of financial information from a stock trading portfolio. But there's this row in here, or so this column in here, column L, that is empty. Now you can click here and you can see that there are formulas, so it does have some purpose, but at this point it's not being used for anything. So what you could do is you could just hide it and then you don't have to look at it anymore, but the formulas will stay. So the way you do it is you just click on the column header L, right click, and just come here and hit hide. Now it's going to be gone, and it still functions properly though. And if you want to get it back, you can generally just select both columns on each side, right click, and then press unhide. Now, this is really useful if you have big data sets and you're trying to do some calculations in one part of the sheet, but hide it because it looks like a big mess and just display useful information somewhere else, which is exactly what happens in this sheet. So if you look here, for example, at column P, it's referencing cell AE2. So if we scroll over, we count up along the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, etc. And once it gets to Z, it starts counting again. So it's AA, AB, AC. So this is referencing a cell AE, but you can see here we jump from V to AL, so there's actually hidden cells here. A quick way to get rid of them is to, again, select both sides, right click, and unhide. And then you're going to see that there's a whole bunch of other information in here as well. And if we find cell AE, that's their column AE, that's this one. And so what it's actually doing here is it's basically referencing that cell because the calculation happened somewhere else. But it keeps us looking at a nice dashboard or a nice table or something like that. So that's a pretty good use for hiding columns, and again, you can just hide them again if you don't want them. And then basically when the user comes in to use the sheet, it's a much nicer user experience. We can also do this with hiding rows. So for example, this is another sheet, and this is just a big list of transactions that's very long. And basically what happens in here is when the user of this sheet wants to log another transaction, they have to come all the way down to the bottom and then start typing things. But if they don't want to scroll every time, maybe what you can do is you can select some rows. Let's maybe go down here, because maybe you don't need all of this historic information, and you can just shift click like this, right click, and hide the rows. So now you don't have to scroll down all the time because basically we've just hidden everything and we're just here ready to work. And as this list expands, you could hide this again once it gets much longer. Just hide more rows, and then if you ever need to uncover those, you can basically just unhide and it pops all the way back. And so everything is here in case you need the information, but it just makes it a lot easier to work with.